start off with a nice big stretch. I want you to take special attention to breathe into your midsection, into the belly area, into the sides, into your back. So even though I said abs today, of course, we're still going to try to balance out our work with making sure that we do some work for our back as well. We always want to have nice, evenly developed front and back of the body. Interlace your fingers and stretch even a little bit more. You can point your toes away from you just to feel like you're lengthening. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. And we'll bring the arms back down and bend your knees into your chest, please. We'll start to rock from side to side. And you can actually draw some circles in the air if you want with your knees. You could have your knees working together in unison, kind of like you're stirring a pot, mixing a pot. So just alternating sides. I'm kind of flipping from one side to the other, like clockwise and then counterclockwise, but you do whatever feels good. And of course, if rolling around does not feel nice on your low back or on your spine, then do not do it. We'll come back to center, and then let's give our legs a lovely stretch. We're going to wake up our legs this Saturday morning, this sunny Saturday morning in August. Start to pedal out your feet, squeeze and release your toes. Point and flex. Definitely get lots of tightness out of your ankles. You can continue to massage the backs of the legs if you want. Let's take 2 more breaths like this. And we'll start to bring our legs back down to the ground. I'd like you to stretch them out nice and long one more time. And then bring your arms away from your body. I want you to try to pull them away from the body with the palms facing up. If it works for you, you could bring your arms into cactus arms. So you're going to have your elbows bent at 90 degrees. The thing is, if you find that doing this, you have your hands kind of floating in the air a little bit, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be able to rest the backs of your hands on the ground. So stretch them out as much as you need to. And just sort of readjust your back body. I want you to sort of snuggle into the mat and then try to soften your ribs, soften your low back. You might feel that you have quite a space between your low back and the mat, and that's fine, but I want you to just be aware of that and just try to soften. And then one of the things I want to make sure that we take a decent stretch today is our neck, because we are going to be having a little bit of work with the neck, perhaps in some of our abdominal things. Always an option to not have to do that. But just turn your head gently from side to side, slowly and gently with your arms open. I'm just going to add one thing here with the computer. There we go. Okay. And then after you've turned your head from side to side a few times, I want us to actually hold. So we're going to turn to one ear, doesn't matter which one. And I want you to relax a little bit more deeply. So you've just paused, you're turning to one direction, and we're going to just try and move into this stretch a little more deeply. I want you to try to soften your opposite shoulder towards the ground. So the way that, opposite from where you're looking. Think of trying to relax your ribs, again, your low back, all of that stuff that we just talked about. And then additionally, I want you to try to take nice deep breaths. So get a good stretch in this side. Soften your jaw. Let's take one more breath. I want to feel a good stretch here. And of course, you're listening to your body. If anything doesn't feel right, then you just ease up and you don't do it as deeply. We'll come back to center and just pause for a second, taking a breath, and then we'll go to the opposite side. So nice big deep breaths. You might even notice now that trying to cultivate those deep breaths when you had your ear on the other side, you might notice that it feels a little bit easier to breathe more deeply now that you're stretching out this side. Okay, we'll come back to center. And then just release the arms. I'd like you to bend your knees in again a second time. This time, pull your knees wider apart. So maybe, again, you want to rock from side to side. Maybe you just prefer to pull the knees in, but this time you're getting a little wider stretch, a little deeper stretch into the hips, and you're pressing your back into the ground a little bit more. Okay, let's bring our knees in. I want you to draw the abdominal muscles in. You're going to pull your belly muscles in towards the spine, and we're going to lift our head and shoulders up, curving our body, tucking your chin in, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax back down. We're going to do that one more time. This is giving you a good chance to see how it feels when you lift up your neck. Remember, you do not need to do this if it's hurting your neck. We'll lift up one more time, pulling the belly muscles in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release back down. Okay, let's stretch the legs up in the air one more time. Give the ankles a little roll. One last one. You can never actually do this enough, I think. This is also a nice way to start your practice to get that blood flow to the head. Just kind of energizing you, making you feel more awake. Okay, let's bring our feet, our knees, we'll have them hover over the hips. You're going to have your shins and your feet together. Take your hands behind your head, lift your head and shoulders up. Keep your elbows open nice and wide, and we are going to hold here. I want you to find a spot that is challenging for you. So lift up high. It's going to feel like it's a challenge for you. You're going to try to keep your elbows open, and you're going to try to be looking up at the ceiling so you have an open neck. Let's hold here. Push your low back into the ground. Keep those abdominal muscles super strong. Holding here a little bit longer. And I'm going to count us down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release back down. You can stretch your legs out. Just take a little shake out of the legs. I'm just going to move my water. And I'd like you to set up once again. So you're setting up one more time, exactly like before. We're going to lift our head and shoulders up off of the ground. Now, this time, I'd like you to lift up 1 inch higher and then 1 inch lower. 1 inch higher, 1 inch lower. 1 inch higher, 1 inch lower. 1 inch higher, 1 inch lower. Let's do this for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then again, come back down, bring your knees into your chest. Stretch out your legs again if you'd like. Nice big stretch. Okay, let's add in a little bit more. So knees hovering over the hips. Lift your head and shoulders up off of the ground. Now this time we're going to extend a leg and extend a leg. So it's just like we are doing this nice smooth movement of our legs. You can have your toes pointed. Doesn't matter if you don't want to do that. I want you to stay here, and then we're going to try and do this in a coordinated way. I want you to lift up 1 inch and lower down. Up 1 inch, lower down. Keep trying with the legs. Up 1 inch, lower down. Up 1 inch, lower down. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, enough of that. Bring your body back down to the ground, stretch your legs out, bring your arms over your head, interlace your fingers. Lots of big breaths into your midsection. That was definitely some warming up of the abdominal muscles. If that coordination part at the end got a little bit, then I hope you found a way to modify it, because, you know, it's always good. Just the fact that you're here on your mat and lying here and bringing your knees up, that's amazing. Let's bring the soles of our feet together. Let your knees open out to the sides. I want you to take some stretches into your hip flexors. You can bring your hands onto the insides of the legs if you like, to try to weigh the legs down a little bit more. And then, as always, we're going to check in with our neck a lot today. And don't worry, all of our abdominal work will not be based the same way we just did now. But for sure, consider turning your head from side to side again, just to wipe off any tension that may be residing in the neck from lifting up. Okay, come back to center with your head, release your legs, bring your feet to the outside edges of the mat with the knees bent. And we're going to drop the legs from side to side. This hopefully feels good, feels like you're stretching out some of the area that you were just working on. Your arms can be pulled away from the body if you want. Let's do this 4 more times, either side. So we'll give ourselves like a good chance to get a nice flushing out with our windshield wiper knees. 4 more times, either side. I am totally losing my count. I think I'm getting closer to the 8 in total. All right, and let's bring the knees in, and I'd like you please to roll yourself up. And if you want, you can roll up and down on your spine a few times if you like how that feels. Then coming up, we're going to come up into a boat pose, but we're going to do it in different options here. So knees are bent, feet are flat on the ground, abdominals are nice and strong. I want you to lean back to the point where you feel the work. Keep your neck always feeling relaxed. Try to keep your jaw relaxed. So you can lean back, we'll hold here. Now, if you want more work, of course, release the arms, holding here. If you want more work, we're going to bring the right leg up and hold. Left leg up, hold. And then last but not least, this is an option if you want. We are going to stay here for 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your legs down. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. We're going to take a nice releasing stretch. Press your arms inside the legs, round your back as much as you want here. You want to really release, let your chin tuck in towards your chest. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift ourselves up, come onto your hands and your knees. And let's do some further stretching of our back, coming into cat and cow. I want you to take lots of breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. So we're going to pause for a bit on any abdominal work. We're going to move into some other parts of the body, some flow movements, help to stretch us out a little bit more. That was just our, I don't want to say it was our warm up because it was pretty tricky abdominal stuff, but it was one of the ways that we can get our body warmed up. All right, after you've done a bunch of cat and cows, if you feel like you need to push your hips from side to side and get some twist, let's go for that. I want you to make sure you're not clenching your teeth. And for sure, keep breathing. Breathing in and breathing out through your nose. All right. So let's remind ourselves of a wonderful pose, wide knees child's pose. Big toes touching, knees are wide apart. Relax yourself down to the ground. So a great option. Can always stay here if you need to rest, if you need to recharge. You can stay here even longer now if you'd like, or come up into downward facing dog. And we'll start to pedal out the legs. So joining in downward dog whenever you feel ready. Remember the modifications. You can stay on your hands and knees and do cat and cows, or you can stay in child's pose. Let's give our neck another little shake. Right now we have, our neck is just hanging. Our head is, the weight of the head is not putting any strain on the neck. So it's another opportunity to stretch out the neck muscles. So we're gonna stay here for about 30 more seconds. And you can just do any type of movement here that calls to you. Maybe you wanna bring a leg up in the air and stretch it up, alternating with the other side. Maybe you've gone back down to your knees and you're hanging out in a nice stretchy child's pose. It's all good, listen to your body. While you are still in your posture, I'm gonna reopen up my book to my page of notes, because as you may have noticed that my dog was starting to eat the book, but she's now out of the room. There we go, okay. All right, so from here, let's bring ourselves forward to a high plank. Just getting settled here, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, pressing back through your heels, certainly feeling that strength in your abdominal muscles that we certainly warmed up before. And then if you'd like, you can either bring your knees down or keep them raised. I'll demonstrate this one down. And you're gonna lower down, keep your arms snuggled in close to the body. Coming into doing triceps, a tricep push-up. Bring the tops of the feet to the mat. We'll inhale into a cobra. And for this time, we'll lower back down, curl the toes under, and bring ourselves back into child's pose. If you haven't been in child's pose for a while because you were pedaling out in downward dog, I want you to take some circles of your wrists, just roll them out, stretch them out. And then for everyone in child's pose, let's walk our hands over to the right side of the mat. Press into your left hip. And then we'll walk over to the left side and we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Nice big breath. Okay, come back to center. We're going to come up into downward facing dog again. And I want to just talk for a moment about cobra and upward dog. So we're going to be doing a lot of vinyasas today, doing it in a flow. And there's many options. So coming forward to a high plank, you can always bring the knees down and lower down. So I'll demonstrate this time with my knees raised. So regular chaturanga, also called a tricep push-up. Tops of the feet to the mat, inhale into cobra. Curl your toes under and then come up in a downward facing dog. So that's a cobra. If you hear me say upward dog, I'll demonstrate an upward dog. So coming forward to a high plank, lowering down and hovering, rolling up over the tops of the feet, coming up into upward dog and downward facing dog. So I want to just highlight this because upward dog is not lowering down and then lifting up. You never actually touch the ground. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. So we're back in downward facing dog. And for one more time, let's practice whatever you're gonna do. Knees up, knees down, cobra, upward dog, go for it. Whatever that is. And then downward facing dog. Okay, let's walk our hands back to our feet. We're gonna be at the back of the mat. Dangle your body here. Release into the back of the body, stretch. You can turn your head from side to side. Maybe your hands are touching the ground. Maybe you're using a prop to have underneath your hands. Lots of stretching here. I want you to just release your shoulders, your neck, your wrists. Maybe you want to roll them again. Keep the belly muscles pulled in because that way your low back does not have all of the work. You're supporting your core, front and back. Let's walk our fingers over to the left side And you're going to try to keep your knees pointing forward. I want you to take a good stretch in the side of the body here. Breath in and breath out. And then we'll walk our hands over to the right side. Knees pointing forward, trying to get a nice stretch in the IT band. Maybe you feel it in other places, that's okay too. And then we'll come back to center, and then we'll do that lovely rolling up. Keep your abdominals pulled in, rolling yourself up. Just letting your spine click, click, click back into place. And then sometimes it just feels good to just do some organic movements, shoulders, neck. Maybe take your hands behind your back, big, big stretch. And release, relaxing your arms. Okay, so we're going to do some sun salutations, some flow salutations. I'll add some creativity into them, so they won't always be the same, but this is going to be kind of the bulk of what we're going to do for the next few moments here in our class, and just get our heart pumping and get every muscle stretched out in the body. So standing nice and tall, take your arms out and up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to your shins or fingertips to the ground, coming into a flat back. Folding forward, bring your hands to the ground and walk yourself up into downward facing dog. So take a couple moments to get steady. Make sure you feel in the right position. Your fingers are spread wide. Hands are about shoulder distance apart, feet are about hip distance. Let's come up high on the tiptoes. Push your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Really draw your abdominal muscles in, and then sink down through your heels any amount. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lifting up, pushing the belly, drawing the belly muscles in, pushing the tailbone up, sinking down any amount. Let's take the right leg, reach it up into the air, bend the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands, come down on your left knee, and we'll float the arms up. Let's take our hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, and take an even deeper stretch. Make sure you're keeping your thigh nice and strong. You're pointing your knee forward, the leg doesn't start to roll in. We'll bring our hands back down, step back into downward facing dog. Let's come up again on the tiptoes, nice and high, pushing the tailbone up and then sinking down any amount. Take your left leg, reach it up in the air, bend the knee open. Big, big stretch, big, big breath. Step your foot up between the hands, come down on your right knee, and float the arms up. Take your hands behind your back again, maybe switching the lacing of the fingers to the way that doesn't feel like the regular way, and then stretch. All right, bring your hands back down. We're gonna step back this time into downward dog, and if you'd like, we'll come forward to a high plank. We're gonna hold our high plank for a couple of breaths here so that we can really anchor ourselves and be quite aware that we have all parts of the body fired up here. It's not just all in the wrist. Definitely, you're pushing back through your heels, your thighs are engaged, your abdominals are strong. And look at that, we've just probably spent 10 seconds in the pose. We're gonna lower down, your choice, knees up or down, coming into cobra or upward dog, and downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. You can pedal it out again to sort of see how the body responded. And let's walk our hands back to our feet. Bring your hands to your shins, lengthening into a flat back, folding forward, taking the arms, scooping them up, hands over the head, and then bring your hands down to your heart. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Lengthen into a flat back. Bring your hands down to the mat. Walk yourself up into downward facing dog. Remembering the positioning of your hands and feet. When you feel ready, right leg up in the air, bend the knee open. Step your right foot up between your hands, coming down on your knee, your left knee, arms floating up. Take your hands behind your back and stretch, open up. Bring your hands down, Step back, downward facing dog. Left leg goes up in the air, bending the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands, come down on your knee, arms float up. Take your hands behind your back, big stretch. And hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Your choice, come forward to a high plank. Give ourselves a second here to anchor in nice and strong. Lower yourself down, coming up into cobra or upward dog. Downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths here in downward dog. You can pedal. Of course, you don't have to stay in downward dog. You can always come into child's pose. We're going to continue with some salutation series, creative movement type of flow, based and rooted in the sun salutation, but with, as I said, some creative license. That's part of being able to teach in the vinyasa style of yoga. It's not rigid. There's not a set prescribed series of postures that we have to take. All right, let's look forward to the top of the mat from your downward facing dog and either walk, step, or if you want, you can hop. The hopping people, we can bend our knees. You're on your tiptoes, you're keeping your core nice and strong, and hop. Lengthening into a flat back. Once you get to the top, folding forward. Take your arms out to the sides, come all the way up. Bring your hands down to your heart. Okay, so we're in a different position this time. It's the front versus the back. It's all good though. Take your arms up, inhale, and fold forward. Lengthen into a flat back. Bring your hands to the ground. We're going to step back into a high plank this time. Remember, you can skip high plank, stay in downward dog. Lower yourself down, coming up into cobra or upward dog. Downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up in the air, bend the knee open. This time, I'd like you to step your right foot up between your hands. Come down on your left heel. We're going to be facing forward, arms up, warrior one. So really make sure that you're pressing into the back edge of the baby toe side of your back foot. Holding here, nice big breath. Let's take our hands behind the back. Inhale, nice big stretch. Release the hands, we'll bring them down. Step back into a high plank, lower down. Cobra or upward dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in your downward dog. We're going to bring our left leg up in the air, bending the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands, plant down through your right heel. Your toes are coming in from the back edge of the mat. Warrior one. Taking a moment here, you can always adjust your feet. Take some time to get into the pose. Interlace your hands behind your back, stretch, open up your chest. Release the hands, bring them down, step back, high plank. Lower yourself down. Cobra or upward dog, downward facing dog. Okay, staying here either in downward dog or take a stretch and a rest in child's pose, or if you'd like, come forward to a high plank. I'm going to give you a little spice here. Lower down on your forearms for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back up into a high plank. And then downward facing dog. So joining in downward dog when you're ready, we're going to look forward to the top of the mat. Step, walk, or hop. Lengthening into a flat back, folding forward. Arms out to the sides. Come all the way up, bringing your hands down to your heart. Okay, let's do one more sequence, and then we'll rest with some abdominals. Okay. Standing nice and tall, nice big breath. Shoulders are back, abdominals are in, tucking in your tail. Arms up, inhale. Fold forward and lengthen into a lovely long and strong back. Fold forward again so that you can bring your hands down. We'll step back into a high plank. You can always skip it and take downward dog. Lower yourself down, coming up into cobra or upward dog. Downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up in the air. Bend the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands. We're going to do warrior one. Once again, arms up. Take your hands behind your back. Once again, stretch. I'm going to add something in this time. Humble warrior. You want to fold forward, dipping inside your right thigh and maybe pushing your arms up towards the ceiling. Really pull back with your right hip. The right hip wants to stick out to the side. Try and pull it back. Come all the way back up. We'll bring the arms up again. And then hands down. Step back, high plank. Lower yourself down. Cobra or upward dog. Downward facing dog. Take a big breath. In through your nose, out through your nose. Left leg goes up in the air, bend the knee open. Step your foot up between your hands, planting down through your right heel. Arms up. Warrior one. Hands behind the back again. Nice big stretch. And then we'll do humble warrior. Once again, pull your left hip back. Maybe push the hands up towards the ceiling. Do whatever feels available. Try not to lose the lunge on the front leg. I know I always struggle with that. Come all the way back up, arms up. Hands down. Stepping into a high plank. Lowering down, cobra or upward dog. And downward facing dog. Okay, so some heart pumping, heart blood flowing salutations that are always good for getting us feeling warm. So I'm gonna just do one more option here of a little bit of a challenge. So maybe you're in child's pose already. Feel free to stay there longer. Stay in downward dog if you like, or high plank people. Once again, we're gonna lower down onto a forearm plank. This time, it's gonna be for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back up, high plank, downward facing dog, and then let's all of us come into a widened child's pose. So let's take some breaths here. We're going to just continue. Some of you have been in child's pose already. That's okay. Just stay here. Maybe, again, you want to walk your hands over to one side and then over to the other side. I definitely encourage you to grab a sip of water. I'm going to reach for my glass that's over here where I put before so that Rosie wouldn't drink it. I hope she didn't. She didn't. Okay. So let's bring ourselves forward onto our bellies. You can continue a little bit of the rest here by bringing an ear to the ground. And then we'll go to the opposite ear. And come back to center. Okay, let's bring the arms alongside the body if you don't have them there already. So stretched out nice and long, palms are flat on the ground. So we have been doing back bends with our cobras and our upward dogs today. This will be our last sequence of movement that is actively trying to stretch out the back and strengthen the back and the backs of the legs too. But I want to add this in because after this, we're going to flip around on our backs and do a little bit of work on the top of the body. All right, lift your head and shoulders up off the ground, or your chest off the ground, sorry. Keep your neck nice and long, draw your abdominal muscles in, and then let's float the legs up as well. With the floated legs, the floating legs, I want you to also engage your glute muscles. So holding here, nice and strong. If you'd like, you can take your hands off of the ground, interlace your hands, and stretch up a little bit more. So maybe think about lifting up your legs a little bit higher. Don't worry so much about lifting up the chest part, because I want you to continue to focus on having the long neck. Let's stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then just release back down, let everything go, relax, bring an ear to the ground. You can shake out your hips again. And we'll go to the other side. Okay, so we're going to do this again, but I'm going to offer another option for those that would like to do this. So, lifting up through the chest, floating up through the legs. If you want, you can bend your knees and grab your feet. If you are able to grab the feet and this feels comfortable for you, you can start to push the legs up off of the ground, trying to engage the thighs. Your abdominal muscles are strong. Holding here, this is bow pose, B-O-W. Holding here. Let's count it down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. So once again, just release everything. Bring an ear to the ground, give your hips a little shake. We'll go to the opposite ear. So the option to do this one more time, take the variation that works for you. Hands to be planted in the ground, you could be lifting up, maybe interlacing the hands behind your back and pulling up, maybe taking bow pose, or maybe you want to rest, that's okay. So everybody find what works for you. Pull the abdominal muscles in. Holding here. Remember to breathe. If you're in bow, maybe you want to rock back and forth and massage your belly organs. Trust me, it's a real thing. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release everything back down. This time, bring your arms into the most comfortable position for you. Bring an ear to the ground. We'll just take some breaths. Shake your hips from side to side, and then we'll actually even bend the knees and drop the feet from side to side. So all of this is good work for strengthening your back, strengthening your core, pairing it with the work of the abdominal work, which we're going to get back to in a moment. Let's turn to the opposite ear. So you came here for abs today. Maybe there's a little more of other stuff than you were expecting, but you can do it. Roll yourself onto your back. Let's bring our knees into our chest nice and gentle here, because you're bringing your back into your inflection now with your spine. You were doing extension with your spine before, so it's an opposite movement. Your back very likely feels a little tender, creaky, so just massage it out. Some of you might want to take a happy baby, that might feel good. I would just definitely recommend that you have a wide legged position here. You can rock if that feels good, but let's just give it a few more breaths. We'll take one more breath. And from here, actually, let's do one more stretch thing. Let's bring our feet to the outside edges of the mat, and my personal favorite, my go-to pose, windshield wiper knees. Just let's take like 10 of them in total, approximately. Maybe stretch your arms away from your body. It also gives you a chance again to maybe turn your head from side to side. Okay, so a little bit more work here, and then we're going to relax. We will do our stretches, but we've at least had a bit of a break to recharge and get our breath back. And we're going to do some fun stuff now. So let's bring our legs up. I want you to flex your feet. Your spine is pressing into the ground and you're drawing your abdominal muscles in. You can always be holding onto your legs if that is more comfortable, and your legs do not have to be super straight. Of course, they can be bent if that's what the hamstrings allow, right? I want you to have your feet flexed, as I said, and we're going to drop the right leg. Let it hover or find the point that you want it to be at, and we're going to pulse, 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 pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your leg all the way back up, and we'll do the left. Lowering down wherever you want it to be, but at the very least hovering, and pulse, 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 pulse. You're keeping your core nice and strong. Hopefully you could feel these little micro movements. 3, 2, 1. We'll come all the way back up. Okay. This time, I'd like us to drop and drop and drop and drop. So your feet and legs are intersecting in midair. It's like scissors. We're going nice and steady. We're not going crazy fast. We just feel the work that's happening here. We're going to do one more on either side. And bring your knees in and just massage your back. Again, wide knees perhaps. Okay, so we're going to do that same scissors, but with a little more intensity if you'd like. So legs straight up in the air. So this time, if you want, lift your head and shoulders off of the ground. Keep your throat open, keep your elbows open. You're looking up at the ceiling, and we're going to just drop the scissors. I want you to be aware of the fact that wherever you started, wherever you first were when you lifted up your head and shoulders, lift yourself up 1 millimeter higher. Dare I say 1 centimeter? Or even 2 centimeters. Lift yourself up a little bit higher for 10, 9, 8, 7, lift up higher, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And bring your knees in, bring your head down. And I would say maybe this time, let's stretch out our legs, bring your arms over your head, and just big, big stretch, big, big stretch. Okay, so the one thing that we haven't necessarily done a lot of yet is the obliques. And we're gonna do that in 2 ways as we start to wind down our abdominals. Come on, you're still with it, right? Don't give up now. You carved out this time on your Saturday morning. We're almost done, we're almost done. Okay, so everybody's favorite, I know, yogic bicycles, yogic sit-ups. It does involve lifting up your head. If you're kind of done with lifting up your head and shoulders, just keep your head and shoulders down. But we're going to twist, twist. So remember, you don't have to do the upper body twisting. Twist. So let's go for it here. And we are going to count this down from 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, we're on the other side, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. Bring your knees into your chest if you want. Stretch your legs out long if you want. Kind of listen to your body. with whatever feels. No swearing at your computer or at me. Okay, we're gonna just take a counter pose here, feet flat on the ground, knees are bent. Just lift your hips up into a bridge pose, just stretch it out, one more breath, and relax back down. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves up into our boat pose one more time. Now, if you happen to have a prop, we're gonna use it. If you don't have it, don't worry, you don't need it. So, prop, if you don't have the prop, you can pretend, or you can just have your hands together. But, so you have your prop, and feet are on the ground to start with. You're gonna lean back, find that point. Remember what we practiced before. Neck is relaxed, shoulders are back, you're not rounding. At any point in time, if you start to round, you're gonna lift yourself up, okay? Just so that you're not as deep into it. So we are going to twist and twist and twist. So try, so that you try not to get dizzy doing this, because I know it makes you dizzy, but try to look at your prop. I'll tell you why, because sometimes what we end up doing here is we twist, we just do it with the arms, right? I want you to try to rotate. Actually, you know what? I'm even going to suggest another way. Just to experiment, bring your hands or the prop to your chest and try and twist. Twist. Try and really point the prop. Twist. Twist. So you can just kind of see the difference in what I'm saying. I actually don't like that as much. I like it this way. Okay. So let's come back up. We'll take a little break. Bring the soles of your feet together. Stretch into your hip flexors, round your back. Tuck your chin in. We did this earlier. So I'm going to add one more variation here if you want. So a little more challenging if we pick up a leg to the side that we twist to. Okay, so prop or not, find your point, super strong core, and we're going to twist, 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 twist. Okay, so now some of you maybe even want a little bit more. Both legs, twist, twist. If this makes you wreck what you're doing, and now you're just focusing so much on keeping the legs up, put them back down. Keep trying to fully rotate and twist and twist. So from here, we're going to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All done. Bring your feet together again, round your back. Lots of big breaths here, like super exaggerate rounding your back. Try to bring your forehead to your toes in that direction. Just breathe into your muscles of your back, into your spine. Okay, so I know we're getting to the end. We're definitely getting to the end. I'd like us to do one more very easy, breezy, calming flow to help stretch out all of this work that we've done. So let's bring ourselves up into downward facing dog. Take a couple moments here to pedal out your legs, just a couple breaths. This is not meant to get the heart pumping. You'll see. Take your right foot, step it up between your hands, plant down through the left heel. Let's come up into a pose that we didn't do yet today, warrior two. Take some breaths here. Notice how you can come back to these poses that sometimes we use them and they are like powerful poses trying to get us going, but right now we're trying to use this pose to stretch us out a little bit. So warrior two, one more breath. We're going to straighten out the front knee without locking it. I want you to take a nice long stretch forward into triangle pose. Breathe into the side of the body. Your hands could be on the leg, the foot, maybe it's up higher on your knee, on your prop. It's all good, but the thing that you're trying to work on is stacking the shoulders and opening up your ribs towards the ceiling. Keep both legs nice and strong. Let's take another breath. We'll look down at our foot for balance to lift ourselves back up. Warrior two one more time. Let's come out of that. We'll bring our hands to our hips. Turn all of your toes to point forward. We're going to come into a nice, easy forward fold. Relax your head. Turn your neck, or turn your chin from side to side. Breathe nice deep breaths. We're going to take 2 more breaths like this. And 1 more breath. We're going to bring our hands to our hips, coming into a flat back, just so that we can come up slowly. And then lift all the rest of the way up. Okay, take a few breaths here. You very well might feel dizzy. So now we're going to just move into warrior two, shifting our feet. You're going to face to the other end of the mat. So your left knee will bend. Take some time to set up your feet. Make sure your right toes come in from the back edge of the mat. Front leg is open, and we'll just pause here. We'll take 1 more breath. And then we'll straighten out the front leg without locking it. Reach from your waist. And we'll come into triangle on the other side. So you're trying to stretch and lengthen. Nice big breaths. Even though these require us to work these poses, you're just stretching open your body one last time. You look down at the left foot for balance. Inhale, coming back up, warrior two. And then we'll straighten out the legs again, pivoting all of your feet to face forward. If you feel like going upside down, again, is a little too much, just interlace your hands behind your back and just stretch. Just stretch. If you feel like you want to try what this feels like to have the hands interlaced behind the back, fold forward. You decide what makes sense for you. Breathe into your back. Everybody take 1 more breath. And then we're going to use our strong body to lift ourselves back up if you were upside down. And then just relax. You can walk your feet in a little bit, well, a fair amount. And then we'll just stand here for a moment. I want you to just let an ear drop to a shoulder. You can take the opposite arm and push, stretch it out and point your fingers towards the ceiling. Just giving a little deeper stretch up into your neck. And of course you can feel it in your wrist. Just point the hand for just the second part of the stretch. And then relax, lift yourself up. Drop your ear over to the other side gently. Never overdoing it, right? Just a little gentle drop. If you want, arms stretched away, point the fingers. And then we'll point fingers down. Nice big breath. And just relax. Bring your chin comfortably towards your chest. Keep your shoulders back. You want to feel a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And then for sure, if it works for you, just do a little half circle, like a half moon, drawing of your chin from side to side. If you feel like you want to do a little bit more, we're going to draw the circle in the air with the chin. Reverse. So we're just taking a little extra attention to our neck, even our upper arms, our trapezius muscle, upper shoulders, all of that just give us a little extra stretch here. And then we'll do one more thing, coming into eagle arms, one arm under the other. You can always take this variation. Nice big breath. And we'll release. Let's do the other side. And release the arms. Okay, let's bring ourselves to a seated position, coming down to the ground. I'd like you to stretch your left leg out, bring your right leg inside the thigh, arms up in the air, inhale, exhale, grab whatever you can, lengthen your spine, lengthen your back, fold forward. We are going to take about 5 breaths in this pose. You might be feeling it in all different parts of your body, behind the leg, maybe in your back, maybe in your hip a little bit, maybe your knee, who knows? All of these things are good. So probably getting closer to 5 breaths. Maybe we'll take one more just to be sure. And then let's come back up. Let's take our right leg, stepping it over, twisting towards your bent knee, so towards the right. This is going to hopefully help to release your obliques, your back. Keep your neck nice and soft. Pull yourself up nice and tall. Let's take one more breath, maybe twisting a little tiny bit more. And we'll come back to center. Just release your leg. We're going to do the same stretch on the other side. So right leg stretched out, left foot inside the thigh. Bring your arms up. Inhale and exhale, grab whatever you can. And then stretch out and lengthen, and then sink down a little more deeply. And I always want to say, grab whatever you can, because it doesn't have to be your foot. It could be your knee. You're trying to keep your spine straighter here and just hinge at the hips and move in a little more deeply. Fill up your lungs with air. We'll take one more breath, coming all the way back up, stepping your left leg over, twisting towards the bent knee, towards the left. Pull yourself up tall. Don't let your back round. Try and keep yourself nice and straight and tall. Remember to breathe. You want to feel your belly pressing against your thigh, the thigh pressing against the belly. Let's take one more breath. And we'll come all the way back to center, releasing your legs. I'd like us to fold forward one more time, but this time, think of your upper body like a blanket, and you're just draping it over. Your knees can be bent, you can be super rounded here, do whatever feels good. If you don't want that rounded, you want to keep a straighter spine, go for it, but it's just going to be a very nourishing, calming. This calms the nervous system. And then we'll come all the way back up. Let's bring ourselves onto our backs. You are so close to the end. You can bring your knees into your chest. Make sure your back feels good. Let's bring our feet flat to the ground. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left thigh. Bend your legs towards you, grab your left thigh. Let your back really press into the ground. Keep your right foot flexed. For the last couple breaths here, if you want to stretch your left leg up in the air and maybe give your ankles some circles, some rolls. And we're going to release and come back down, and we'll switch sides. So taking the variation that works for you. Remember, if it's too much to grab the thigh, then just stay like this. Just think about trying to lengthen your spine, lengthen your tailbone, really push your back into the ground. And then the last few breaths, just like the other side, if you want to extend your right leg up and maybe roll the ankle a few more times, squeeze and release the toes. And we'll start to release and bring everything back down to the ground. Let's stretch out our legs. We are going to close with one more twist here, one more pose. Please bend your right knee into your chest. Bring your left hand onto your knee. Pull the leg across the body. Stretch your right arm away from you. This is to really get into your back, your belly, of course the leg, but one more really good stretch, and you're looking in the direction away from the knee being bent. So now you have another chance to even twist with your neck. Let's take one more good breath into the belly. We'll come all the way back. Switch sides. Breathe into your heart. Make sure you're not clenching your teeth. Make sure your face is nice and relaxed. You just finished your yoga practice. You started your day or partially into your day, depending on how long you've been up. Come all the way back. So if you would like to stay here longer and take a Shavasana, more of a Shavasana, please feel free to just do that on your own. But if, for purposes of not keeping you here for too long, bring your arms over your head. We're going to take a nice big stretch. I want you to reach as far away from your body as you can with your hands, and reach as far away from your body with your feet and your toes. Let's take a big breath in and exhale out through the mouth. We'll do that one more time. A big breath in and exhale out through your mouth. You can start to carefully and slowly and gently roll over to your right side and lift yourself up. Remember, you can stay longer if you want in your Shavasana. I just don't want to keep you too much longer because, you know, we've got things to do. But thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday and a lovely weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the summertime. Get outside and smile. Namaste. And I have class Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's a deep stretch, and Thursday at 5:30. It is a power vinyasa flow. Lots of fun. Please feel free to email me if you have any interest in joining these classes. And yeah, thank you again for joining. Thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing Saturday, everybody.